Our next speaker is Jenny Griggs. Berkeley Community Growers, and I know nothing at all about Berkeley Community Growers, and I'm looking forward to finding out.
So I'm Jenny Griggs. Actually, the social enterprise is called Climate Friendly Food, which was started in 2008 by a group of organic growers who were concerned that the sort of whole language of climate change was being hijacked for industrial agriculture. And we've got essentially two elements. We've got sort of like a national campaign, and our national campaign is to have more widespread market gardening. And I mean, not just like little pockets, I mean everybody being fed in Britain by sort of a market gardening food system. And then we have the other thing that pays my wage and the thing that I put most of my time and energy to, which is Fir Tree Community Growers. And Fir Tree Community Growers is based near St Helens, so not strictly Liverpool, but I have an interest in sort of in Liverpool. So I thought I would sort of talk to you a bit about the sort of way that I can see that Liverpool food system developing. Could we move on to the? Yeah. So I'll just mention a couple of things that are happening elsewhere in the country. And the first one is Growing Communities in Hackney, and they've developed this sort of food zones. And one of their things that they're really interested in is sort of developing urban food growing, particularly high-value salad leaf growing, which they've been doing really successfully. And this peri-urban land, which Liverpool's got a lot of peri-urban, really suitable land for food growing. Strips over, is how we can do much more of that and encourage activists to become commercial food growers. So here we've got where the A sign is, that's where I am. So you can sort of see we're a little bit away from Liverpool. But all this land here, so this sort of higher land here, everything that you can sort of see that's red, is all a very traditional horticultural growing areas. Now we're actually a peri-urban farm to actually St Helens over at Liverpool. So, and interesting, when they did the oral histories of people in St Helens, all the kids who were sort of like in the 1940s remember sort of walking up from central St Helens, walking up to here, which is Windle Island, if anybody knows it, this is the East Lancs, getting their veg from these farms here. So the sort of the stories that are in Liverpool are also sort of duplicated in other bits of Merseyside as well. And the other thing I wanted to flag up to you as well is that there's not many organic growers in Merseyside, but we have got a series of organic growers up here that are failing to sell their stuff locally. In fact, my friend, Organic Dan, his beetroot this year went to Germany. And I mean, we have to sort of say, why is that happening? Why can't we have a food system that we've got all this growing land above, that, why can't we get getting that food into Liverpool? And what's sort of going wrong? I mean, it's complicated. It's all to do with the, sort of the way that the globalised food system works, particularly about how contracts work, how sort of large buyers want to only be dealing with one person, that kind of thing. But how we can make these sort of more successful local food systems work. See if I can get you. One of the things that I was involved in is we wrote a report last year about how it could work, really looking at the example of Hackney and how that's been working really, really well in developing their local food systems. And what we found is that the entire UK population ate a lot of fruit and vegetables, so I'm not talking about the small amounts that we eat now, but if we moved more towards a diet of fruit and vegetables, that we could probably cut the carbon dioxide from the whole food system by about 60%. And that's because basic fruit and vegetables are really low carbon. If you think about an apple, it's probably the ultimate low carbon food. It can actually just be picked from a tree, and no mechanism has to be involved. If that was then delivered by a bike trailer, for example, at no point is fossil fuel entered into that food system. And that's the kind of thing that we need to sort of be thinking about. I won't concentrate on these things, but the other thing is that we could reduce deaths, we could reduce the amount of money spent on the NHS if we were eating more fruit and vegetables, and if every community had its own market garden. And also, we envisage that these market gardens won't be like the old style market gardens, but they'll have a community benefit, so they'll be having sort of multiple outcomes. In our case, we're a care farm, so we provide predominantly opportunities for people with mental health problems, but also we have guys with learning disabilities, we also have people with physical disabilities. And also providing job opportunities as well, because vegetable growing is really, really labour intensive. So if you can make the economics of that work, which isn't, you know, isn't easy, I'm not going to lie to you, but when we start to make the economics work of small-scale intensive fruit and vegetable growing, then in that case we can start to provide local jobs as well. And Colin Tudge, who organised the Real Oxford Food Conference, which was a couple of weeks ago, was saying, look, we need this agricultural renaissance. We need about 20% of the population to be involved in the food system. And then our actual societies will become a lot stronger, a lot better. So, just a few things about us at Fir Tree Farm. So Fir Tree Farm is a sort of demonstration farm, really, of all these sort of positive outcomes. And we had our 3-year independent evaluation, which just finished last October. So just a few things about what we've done is that we regularly supply about 200 households. We supply Liverpool Organic Direct is one of our buyers. We run our own little box scheme, and we supply, which, you know, it's not ideal, but we supply a box scheme in Burnley as well. And it's to do with sort of personal relationships and that, but we would prefer all our stuff to be sold in Merseyside. And of which, when we did an audit of customers, about 70% were considered disadvantaged, particularly elderly people, like the fact that we have a home delivery system. We also do a lot of training, so I mean, that's really, as well as making money from the veg, I do a lot of training. I'm just about to start a contract at Style Women's Prison, helping them get their horticultural unit to sort of commercial production. And over the last 3 years, we've worked with 2,270 people. So we sort of come into contact with a lot of people, and people are really, really into it. That's a really nice thing that I'm finding all the time. And I won't concentrate on the other things, but basically we've been doing sort of a lot of community development work, and so it's where we move on from that point. So one of the things that I'm really, really excited about is that we've been working with the Kindling Trust in Manchester. We've been doing a lot of really good work about how we get more market gardeners. And we've run the Land Army, they call it the Land Army course, twice now, so this was the second course that we ran. And we're trying to train, give people basically a taste of all the skills they would need to run their own commercial growing enterprise. So this is a picture from Fir Tree Community Growers. One of the things on the course that we did actually is we let everybody have a go on the tractor, which is often something that people really, really want to be sort of having a go. Let people have a see how the equipment works. Let them sort of get to grips with sort of small-scale gardening, market gardening equipment. And at the moment, I'm involved in writing a manual, which is going to go online, which will hopefully be all free information that will be linked to the course. So basically, the whole course materials will then be online as well, so that we can get all that information really out to sort of nationwide audience. I mean, that's my interest. How am I doing for time, Francis?
Just going to hold up my 2 minutes.
Right, I just better like the proper soldier on. So, been doing a lot of work in Manchester. But I'd really more like this to sort of be focused more towards Merseyside. Manchester's really interesting in that when I first got interested in Manchester, I think they had 1 market garden. They've got now 4, they've got people getting commercial wages out of their market gardens, Leveland City Growers, Mossbrook. So we'd really, really like to see that kind of thing developing here in Liverpool as well. This is a market gardening course I ran for people in Accrington actually, so they're sort of trying to set up their own market garden here. And just a chance really to come and experience all the skills. The thing is we've got all the tools as well, so we're really geared up for training. The other thing that I'm really interested in doing, it's really hard actually this, but Kirsty, who runs Liverpool Organic Direct, I've been working with her and we've been share farming at polytunnel. And Kirsty hates having a photo taken, so I've got the volunteers. But we've been doing sort of polytunnel growing, the economics of that really work. It's really possible to pay proper, like £8 an hour wages from this kind of growing. So we've been, and to be fair, Kirsty did most of the work, so she's been the one who's been stripping back those tomatoes, de-leafing them, stringing them up. She's done an absolutely amazing job. And it's a relationship between me and her that's worked really well. So if I can sort of create those opportunities for other people, that's something that I'm really, really interested in. And also just really interested in helping other people to relocalise Merseyside's food system. So this is a photo from the launch at Riceline City Farm of the box scheme that we've been trying to sort of set up. So we've sort of ran in tandem really a sort of organic veg line and a conventional box from another local farm. But how we can sort of get affordable food really into local communities, especially at places like Walton that don't have access to fruit and vegetables. I mean, there's been mixed success with that, but I think one of the problems is just time really. It takes a lot of time to sell things like this. They do work, but there's got to be a lot of sort of groundwork really to sort of get people on board and that kind of thing. And so this is the last slide, I think I'm on time. It's a picture of my daughter, who just loves snails. I love this picture actually. I think she's sort of been eating a donut or something at that point, so I thought she's got stuff around. But the amazing thing about market gardens is they're really places for everybody. So we've got a guy with really severe cerebral palsy who comes every week. And then my daughters can come, I've got 2 daughters, can come in the holidays and be with me. They're very safe places, they're really sort of good places for communities to be. And also, you know, just the whole thing of doing that sort of aerobic exercise around picking veg, being around veg, you know, we can really sort of transform communities with that. So that's how I'm going to end it. If anybody wants to speak to me or contact me, I'll put those in my